My husband and I recently bought our first home in Los Angeles, California. It took us nearly 2 years to finish this process. We have looked over dozens of houses in person and countless houses online. Luckily, we were able to find our dream home to start our family. It is such an exciting process, but at the same time very intimidating. Since it involves large amount of money and is our biggest decision that we have ever made, it is such a long-term commitment and it comes with large amount of debt. There's so many things I didn't know or didn't expect during this process, and I wish I could be told earlier before I started this process. That's why I want to make this video. I would like to share all the things I learned during this process with you all. I'm gonna break down to 3 stages. Stage 1, hunting for houses. Stage 2, making offers. Stage 3, closing period. Some of it is just the inside information I learned, and some of it could just be me being biased. You could have a completely different experience than mine. So let's get started. The stage 1 is when you're looking for houses and you're looking at different neighborhood and trying to find the house that you would like to put down your offer. This period could be long or short, it depends on your budget, the market, and sometimes your luck. While you're looking for the houses, it's probably a good idea to prepare for your finance. There are some very standard things that you should do when you're trying to get a loan, get a mortgage to be approved to buy your house. First foremost is don't buy anything big, such as buying a new car or get a ton of new furniture and just have a big bills on your credit card. The underwriter really doesn't like that, and there will be a big flag on when you're trying to get your loan approved. And the second one would be pay your credit card bill on time, pay your debt on time, like your car payment on time, so you have a good credit score. The third one would be you should look through all your credit card to see if you have a credit card that you haven't been using for a long time and then you just forgot about it and forgot to pay that. Make sure you don't have any of that in your record. The last one might be obvious, but then it's very important is that you have a job and you have a stable job. So that's the part actually surprised me because my husband and I are both freelancer working in the film industry. We own our own business. We have an S Corp that we use to run our business. We consider ourselves have a stable income, but it is very different in the mortgage people's eyes. So the idea is the mortgage underwriter, who is the one that approves your loan, really doesn't like freelancers' income type. They're very cautious when they're dealing with freelancers or small business owners. You need to provide at least 2 years consistent tax return to prove your purchase power. If your second year's tax return is higher than their first year tax return, they will take an average between these 2 years to calculate your purchase power. However, if your second year income is lower than the first year income, they will take the lower one, which is the first year's tax income, to calculate your purchase power, which is very surprising to me. I was really shocked by this information. I thought it would be pretty easy for me to get a loan because I have a job, I have an income, I have been paying tax, I have a higher credit score. But then since I'm a freelancer, my husband is also a freelancer, it is a lot more difficult than we thought. So I would say if you're a freelancer like we are, or if you're a small business owner, it's probably a good idea to get a loan agent so that they can explain this to you and they can help you prepare your tax return and they can shop around for you. Get a good experienced buyer agent to represent you. You might have seen it somewhere online. There are a lot of people on the internet saying this. You don't need a buyer agent. You can just talk to the seller and the seller agent yourself. However, I find it very useful to have a good buyer agent when you're buying the house the first time. For us, we were really lucky. We got a very good buyer agent. She knows Los Angeles really well. She's been in the Los Angeles real estate market for over 20 years, and we got so much information from her. We didn't know which neighborhood, which specific location we want to buy our first house, so it is very nice to have her explain all the advantage and disadvantage of each location, each neighborhood. She also provided a lot of resources, such as the inspection people. We did some general inspection and the sewer line inspection, and then we're glad that she can provide some of the contact information to find good ones in Los Angeles. She also introduced us to a general contractor so that we can ask price on some of the renovation that we want to do. And they all turned out to be great. The thing I appreciate the most is that she relieved a lot of negotiation stress from me. I'm a big introvert. I got very stressed out when I need to negotiate with other people. We had some complication during our closing period. We couldn't close on time. It's not completely our fault. It's kind of both my fault and the seller's fault. However, one day that the seller decided that they want us to pay penalty on every day that we delayed. It is about I think it's like $150 and $200 per day, plus the interest of their loan for those days we delayed. I don't want to pay for that. It's already a lot of money, and I was very stressed out trying to write up an email to negotiate, but then my agent just responded right away saying that, oh, there's no way that my client is gonna pay for that. There's no way that we're paying anything, for no penalty, no interest. If you insist on this, we will drop out the deal, and then if you want to go to court, we can go to court. There's nothing we're gonna lose. You're gonna lose a lot more money. And then she said, oh, we're very serious about this deal. We're trying everything we can to speed up this process, and we will close as soon as possible. So don't do this. And then the seller just backed down, and we end up closing our deal. We got the house without paying extra, I don't know, couple $1,000 or even $10,000. Who knows how much their interest is on their loan. So one thing is that you're not the one who's paying for your agent. It's the seller who's paying for your agent. After you close on the house, the seller will pay 2% or 2.5% to your agent for their work. This means if you have a bad buyer agent, they will egg you on and push you into buying an expensive house without negotiating a better deal for you so that they can get more money. It is very, very, very important to get a good buyer agent. Don't go with the first agent that Zillow or Redfin assign you. Try shop around, try talk to multiple buyer agents before you make your decision. You should look into their years of experience, how well they know the area, and then whether they're happy to provide the information that you ask for, how responsible and responsive they are, and also, very important, how pushy they are, whether you're comfortable with talking to them. Ultimately, it's your decision to make. The agent is there to help you, to advise you, to guide you through the process, but you're the one who's making the decision. You should do your own research. After getting the information from the agent, you should go on Google or any place to find out whether what she's saying or what he's saying is true, so that you can have a more objective view of things. Or you might decide to get a new buyer agent. Pick your battle when it comes to finding the house. There are so many things you need to consider when it comes to finding the perfect house. That the price of the house, the location, the layout, the size of the house, the size of the lot, whether it's next to a market, whether it has a big kitchen, all that stuff. It's almost impossible to find a house that meets all your preference. And you need to make a decision and make your compromises and pick your battle on what you care the most. You can do some standard filtering on Zillow and Redfin. However, there are so many other factors you want to consider and you should consider when it comes to buying your first house. It is very useful to have a spreadsheet to help you organize your thoughts and do your comparison. In this spreadsheet, you should have a must-have category, which are all the requirements that the house must meet, such as not next to a big street, not in a flooding zone, no sex offender within 2 miles. And then there's another category which is nice to have, whether it has a nice kitchen, the travel time, the school zone. In this row, it has a weight factor, which represents how important this parameter is for me. So for example, the travel time is very important to me, so it's a 5. And then the school zone is less important for us, so it is a 3. Whether it has a big kitchen or not, it's okay important, so it is a 4. And then I will rate each house from 5 to 1. Once I have all the rating done, I will have the rating multiply the weight factors and sum it up. In the end, I will have a score for all the houses that I'm interested at. It gives me a lot more objective comparison. Once you have a general comparison down, it's all about your feelings. The house you pick might not be the one that ranked the highest on your list, but the one that you feel the best, like the most when you visited among the top 3 or top 5 on your list. When you're looking for houses to put down your offer, it is good to have an idea of how much renovation costs. What we learned is that some of the renovation items are just a lot more expensive than the others, but doesn't really show it. For example, renovating kitchen, renovating bathroom is a lot more expensive. Getting a new roof, replacing air conditioning system, it's very expensive. Renovating stairs is very expensive. Repairing sewer system or foundation is very expensive. However, some decorative things might look great, might make a big difference, but doesn't cost that much, such as interior painting or flooring even. Depends on what type of floor you're getting. It is helpful to know renovating cost so that first, when you go look at the house, if it is a flipper house, that you know how much the previous owner, the seller, has spent on upgrading the house so that they can sell for a profit. Sometimes you can see a flipper house like we did. They only did painting and flooring. It doesn't cost them a lot of money, but made the house look way nicer and way newer. And they did some staging work, so the house just looks completely new and very appealing to the buyer, so that they can sell for higher price and get more profit. However, those things just doesn't cost that much, and then you can do it easily yourself. And then if you go visit a house, the previous seller redid the kitchen, bathroom, and roof tile, have a new air conditioning system, then you know they spent a decent amount of money to upgrade this house, and then you know what you're paying for. Okay, so now we move to stage 2. At this time, you probably already find a house you fell in love with and you're ready to make an offer. I probably don't have a ton of information or experience on this process since we were really lucky. We fell in love with a house we liked, we made one offer and that offer get accepted, and that's a house we end up buying. However, there are things I learned through this process. The number one is only make offers on a house you want to buy. We were told by multiple people that you probably need to make at least 3 or 4 offers before your offer gets accepted, before you move into the closing period. Probably wants to start trying putting down your offer as a tryout. That was just not our experience. We saw this house, we made one offer, and it was accepted and we ended up buying this one. What I learned is that you should only make offers on the house you're absolutely happy to buy instead of having this mindset of, oh, I need to try it out. You need to make your own decisions on making offers. So during this offer process, it's like a negotiating, bidding process among all the buyers. You start with your initial offers. At this point, you can't have your agent to ask the seller agent how much other people are bidding for just to have an idea. But sometimes seller agent doesn't tell you that. You just have to see how much you're willing to put down for this house. And then you should make your own decision on that with other people's, like your agent, your buy agent's advice. Ultimately is what you're happy to pay for. After that initial round, the seller will pick several top offers to make a second run. For us, they picked 4 offers and they asked for best and final price. I remember we were skiing, we were on a skiing trip that we booked a long time ago at Mammoth. We were trying to have this conversation, my husband and I, and then we couldn't really decide on how much money we wanted add on to our initial offers, just because I think our initial offers is already like pretty much the maximum that we're willing to pay. So we end up only at like $5,000 on the initial price, and somehow we got the deal. I feel like it just, you're willing to raise up your price for a little bit and give your seller a hint that you're a serious good buyer that will not drop out of the contract. Since the last thing that the seller wants is we go into the escrow and the buyer drop out of the contract and they have to put their house back on the market, a lot of time people will think, oh, why it come back to the market the second time? Oh, is there any problem with the house? That's normally how buyers think. So they want to avoid that. So now we move to stage 3, closing period. We learned so much during this period. It is like 30 days, but then every single day you're overwhelmed by information. Your home inspection problem list is probably longer than you expected. We bought a flipper house, everything is renovated, everything is new. So we thought, okay, it's probably not gonna be a very long list since everything is new. But that's not the case. We got a very long list from our home inspector. He did a very detailed job, told us every single thing that is wrong or not repaired in the house that he can notice. We were pretty surprised by how long the lists are. Then the inspector was telling us even with a new construction, there's gonna be a list of problems that needs to be fixed. The lists are just giving you an idea of how the house really are. You might notice new problems after you move in, which we did. Some of the small problems might cost you a lot of money to fix. So it is good to take the problem list seriously. So we take our chance and then we put all the problems on the repairing list for the seller to repair. They end up agreeing to repair most of them. There's 3 things they don't want to repair. And then my agent was able to negotiate with them and get them give us some credit. Knowing your neighbor. This is something that we learned from renting our last apartment. We had this very annoying neighbors upstairs who is just super sensitive to sound. I will be walking in my apartment, literally walking, at 10 a.m. and he will get super mad and stomp the ceiling. And then the same thing happened when I was like watching a YouTube at 12 p.m. and he get mad and call the security on us, and that just become very annoying. We love that apartment and we stayed there for quite a long time. And ever since that neighbor moved in, we just had not a very fun time living in that apartment. So we thought, okay, we need to talk to our neighbors, know them, and make sure they're not annoying people. They're nice people. And that's what we did during the closing period. We came to the house, we talked to the neighbors next door, and they're very, very nice people. They told us a lot about this street and this neighborhood. They know everyone who lived on the street, and they told us who they are and then how many years they have been there. So very nice people. We feel very happy to buy this house knowing that the neighbors are very nice. There are so many scams targeting the house buying process. Our agent reminded us multiple times and warned us multiple times that before I transfer my deposit and my down payment, I need to call the escrow and have them verify their routing number, account number on the call with me before I make the transfer. And that's what I did. I called them multiple times to verify the information that they provided and that's a right account. And then I transferred the money. Later on, I read some posts online and they were saying that they got email from the escrow company with the same email address and told them the transferring information, and that is a scam. They had to go to court or they just end up losing a ton of money. I think there's just some ways that people can hack into the emails or something. I don't know. So I would say when you're dealing with a lot of money, such as a down payment, a deposit, Make sure you get the expert people on the phone to verify the information instead of trusting the email. Okay, so those are all the things I learned buying my first house in Los Angeles. Prepare to be overwhelmed. You will be presented with a ton of information every day and you need to make your decisions. So don't pack your schedule and make sure you have a lot of time during this period. And very importantly, if you're in a relationship and you're buying the house together, prepare to have a lot of argument. You just need to talk to each other and make sure you understand each other and make that decision together. I hope I was able to give you some insight or warnings. Good luck with your house buying process and thanks for watching.